All right, so 6 months later, are you ready?
Do we keep doing this to ourselves? But today I'm ready. I got my mountain ops. We're talking some vision of name changes and why we changed our YouTube channel. So why not?
Yeah. So if you may have noticed that our YouTube has changed and our socials have changed, and we kind of want to go over our reasoning why we're changing, what's behind the rebrand, I guess you could call it, and the vision that's behind it. So do you want to cover any of that, or you want me to jump into it?
I want to hear what you say.
Okay. Well, so we were talking about this last week, I think, or the week before, and I feel like in my mind, a big reason for the rebrand is as ICT Creative, it was basically I had my solo work, you had your solo work, and then there would be some jobs that we both partnered on, and that's what became ICT Creative. It was basically a side hustle to our main jobs of doing our own creative work. And with 1211, we are actually, we brought on some people to help us with it, and we are making it actually a business that's running through all of our creative.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ICT Creative Group, when we first talked about it, we were actually going to try to go after some of the local market here in Wichita. And Wichita, the kind of the local area code, or even the airport, is ICT. You see it all over the place. And so we were like, yeah, we'll just ICT Creative Group was really just going after specific local, and it was like anything but that. We were working with more national brands all the time, traveling, those kind of things. And so most people had no idea what it meant or why, and just kind of went with it. We never were super stoked with the name and just everything about it. So
yeah, I remember when we were setting it up, or when we were talking, trying to figure out what to call ourselves, we were like, forever. And then we just finally came with ICT Creative Group, like the least creative name ever.
Yeah, but it was literally like, I don't hate it. I don't like it. Whatever. Let's just move forward, because it was just like
forever.
A local thing, right?
Yeah.
But then, like I said, it became something that was much more than even what you and I thought. And so I, again, loved the opportunities we have, those kind of things. So I think the biggest thing, the reason with the name change, is there's so much new change, new excitement, new team, those kind of things. And
well, I'm going to preface this by saying that for pretty much the past 2 years, we've been turning away work. Mm-hmm. And I would like for you to go into why we were turning work away, and why we decided now we're going to go all in on 1211. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of that was because where you were sitting with your role as a pastor and everything else that you're doing. Yeah. And if you can go into a little bit of that, I think it might also be a good segue into why we went with our new name and where we're headed in the future.
Yeah, well, for those who don't know, I've been in full-time ministry for the last 21 years. And full-time ministry as a pastor, start off youth pastor and worship pastor. And then as our church and congregation grew, 1,500 people, a lot of those duties and different things changed, and so became worship and associate pastor, and loved every minute of it. I'm more excited about ministry today than I ever have, and so still serve our congregation faithfully, and I will always do so. Just love local ministry. I think we should all be a part of. If you're a person of faith, then you should be involved, and 100%. So whether that's volunteer or just even part of what your church is doing, believing in the mission and the vision and the values is important. So anyway, so I've been doing that for a long time. And to be honest with you, I think if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said, I'll probably die doing that. But how the Lord has faithfully birthed new vision and excitement for us, and that's really where our new name came from, 1211 Collective, is based around 1211. If you know Revelation 12:11, it says, "We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony." Nothing that we have done, but the work of Jesus on the cross shed for us has given us life, and it says life in abundance. And this is a way that we combat the schemes and the things of the enemy as he has come after us full. Says that he's He's like a prowling lion, ready to steal, kill, and destroy what God has created and made good. And here's the best part is he's given us an offense. And in Revelation 12, I didn't mean to get so deep, but we're just going to go after it.
For it.
Revelation 12, before verse 12:11, it says the archangel Michael and Satan were warring in heaven. And at that point, that means Satan literally had access into the throne, or at least into the heavenly place. And it says that they were warring in heaven, and the archangel Michael defeated him and cast him to earth. And it says where he would torment mankind, or some say the accusers of brethren, but other translations says to torment mankind till the end of time. And then verse 11 says, but we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb, what Jesus did for us, that us receiving that, allowing it to pour over, and the word of our testimony. How powerful the word of our testimony is remembering first and foremost, we serve a God who's victorious. Remembering that, man, we get to partake in the story of what God is doing right now. I love John 21. It says, there's so much more Jesus did. This is John writing this. So much more Jesus did. I suppose all the books in the world couldn't contain the stories that would be written about him. And here's the truth. He's still moving in people's lives and transforming people every single day. And so 1211 is really capturing that. And so there's two parts of 1211. There's 1211 Collective, which is our new business. There's a team of us. We have some young creatives. I'm sure you guys will get to meet them soon. One just graduated from college. The other one's going to be graduating soon. And man, they're just go-getters. It's exciting. They're creative. They're talented. They're smarter than us. And we won't tell them that. But the truth is like our team has grown, so our capacity has grown, and I think that has allowed us to dream a little bit. But to get back to it, I feel like about a year ago, the Lord really called me to capture those stories. I love traveling around to different ministries and missions all over the globe to partner in the story of what God is doing all over this place and tell it. And so we have the 1211 Project is really where that first part of that name came from. And that project is to literally continue to tell the story and combat the enemy through the power of the testimony of people and what God's doing on the earth. And then with that, why not use our business to glorify Lord in everything that he's doing and still go. And, you know, at the end of the day, man, I love being a part of business. I believe business is a great influence that we can even bring the gospel in that. And so I didn't mean to get so intense into like, man, but the truth is that's always going to be who I am, who you are. Faith is a big part of everything we do. And I believe that this life is eternal, and the things that we're trying to go for that are temporary are fading away, and they're going to fleet. But at the end of the day, like what matters is what we're doing for the kingdom. And so it's exciting, to be honest with you. It's exciting to transition that name, 1211 Collective. It's bigger than you and I. There's so much more that we're partnering in. Already have some amazing jobs lined up from right off the bat, because technically I'm officially into this full time. It's pretty crazy to think about stepping down from that normal ministry at 1211, or from the church, to start a 1211 Project and 1211 Collective. And so the truth is it's all new, and it's going to be a proof of concept over the next couple of years. But man, it's nothing but up. Really excited about both avenues. So.
It's been pretty crazy. To kind of take a step back with your role as a pastor. There was, and like you said, a year ago, you would have been, I'm going to be a pastor until I die, right? Yeah. Or in some kind of a pastoral role. And so you were, I don't want to say struggling with, but you were trying to figure out, where does creative sit with your role as a pastor? And then on my end, I've been taking over operations and creative for another business that I'm a part of. And, so both of us were in a time where we were really busy and like wondering, how does ICT Creative fit? And then probably the first of the year, would you say that's about right? First of the year is when?
Yeah, just a little bit after first year.
There was just a lot of confirmations that started happening. My role in this other company, it got to a place where I could start picking up creative work again. And like we had those two guys coming out of college the same month. There was just a lot of confirmations that we were like, man, maybe we should start thinking about this. And then there was more confirmations, and we decided, you know what, this is.
The truth is, there's part of that too, where it wasn't that we didn't want to work and partner with some of these awesome brands that were coming our way. There's just only so much capacity you have in a week. And 100%. For me, I didn't want that to take away from the ministry side. I still believe that that's important. I will always be in ministry. Mm-hmm. It might look different. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at that point, I just had to not, I was like, I can't get wrapped up in busyness. Mm-hmm. I have to stay, just true to that. Now, with that being said, it's not that everything's changed. I just think the Lord's clarified how that ministry and being part of that and the business side is a big portion of that. And so the best part is we get to be all in for the first time, and it's
with the team.
Yeah. And that's what I mean.
I mean, to be able to have the guys that we have working with us, like you said, don't tell anybody, but they're awesome and they do a really good job. In the short time we've been working with them, I feel like they've grown way faster than we did. Yeah. And I mean, part of that's probably because they're smarter than us. We've been teaching them. They don't have to look at.
Well, there's nothing like on the job training. You can YouTube videos all day. You can YouTube a podcast about whether you care about what we're saying or not. The truth is there's only so much you can hear. It's something about getting into it, getting your hands dirty, understanding every situation, troubleshooting lighting, doing all this stuff. And when you get to actually, partner with that, I'm not trying to give us credit, but in the same way, like if I would love to, I think sometimes we're so prideful that we don't want to go work under somebody, but it's like, man, we learn more. And we've had multiple people tell us that we learn more in 2 weeks working with you than we have in 2 years by ourselves. And it's like being part of a team matters. We've talked about that.
I think that also takes into account, like you and I aren't afraid to go sit in a lower than DP role if it means that we're going to be in a position where we might learn something. And we've talked about this before, you can take any shoot, any circumstance, and take something away from it that you're learning.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer wholeheartly that I learn something at every shoot I'm on.
Yes.
Good, bad, and ugly. I learned something.
Yeah.
And the best part is, at 43 years old, I'm still learning a lot. I have a lot to learn. And I think that's what's exciting about this new venture is the next 2 years is a proof of concept in a way of what we can actually, what is our capacity with the new team that we have? What are the dreams, the vision, those kind of things? And so that's part of it. That's what this YouTube is you're going to begin to see a little bit more of our work, a little bit more of the BTS stuff that we are doing, and hopefully that you enjoy. But, maybe less, or whether some podcasts, but some of that's just going to be hands-on. I'm excited about another product video that we're going to do in the next week or two with some more stuff that's coming in. So anyway, I think that's exciting. I want to show we'll do some lighting breakdown stuff that I'm really excited about.
We'll still do some. I think the podcasts are going to be a thing. Now the direction of the podcast, no idea. Yeah. But I think podcasts are probably still going to be a thing just because they're kind of fun to just sit down. And I look at the podcast almost as a way to look at the big picture rather than like, even if it's a shot breakdown. Sometimes when you're setting up a shot, you kind of just are so in the moment. You're like, hey, I need this here, I need this here. And we're not thinking, I don't say we're not thinking about it, but we're not thinking about it from a over the top view. We're thinking about it as a directly through the monitor. What am I looking at?
Well, and as a DP and a creative, one of my favorite things is to go into a difficult room and figure out how to make it at least not look like garbage.
Yeah.
And that to me excites me. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, for some reason we have a lot of young people knocking on our doors. Yeah. I think the intriguement of what we're doing, bigger than just business, is there's some cool opportunities. So we have some interns that are going to come work for us, and so part of that is making me think about training and different stuff. And I'm like, why not do it in the YouTube realm? And so, when I say lighting breakdown, we're going to talk about some real practical, cheap ways to create lighting opportunities that I think can go with anybody, travel, kids, those kind of things. So,
yeah, I mean, light, if you're improving the shot, light's doing a good job, right? Realistically, yes, we want every shot to look like it's perfectly lit, everything's balanced. But in the real world, that's not always possible. So how can you take a bad situation and make it good?
Yeah, and it's not even, I just got back from Japan, and I couldn't light anything. First of all, I never knew what situation I was about to light in, but understanding light is the foundation of everything.
Right.
I literally at one point had a guy who was wearing a white shirt stand somewhere so I could bounce light off of him for a 20-second interview. And it was awesome.
Right.
And just understanding what you're doing, where you're putting your camera, how to make a shot look a little more. And we've all been in a situation where it's less than ideal and you got to deal with what you have. How do you make the most, and understanding those? I think, and we've spoke to this many times. There is 1,000 people anymore. Some of these kids, I'm like, how do you have the money you have to spend on the gear you have? There's any Joe Smo with a camera any day wants to start a business and say that they're going to start charging money and whatever. Yeah. But I'm also going, the value of understanding a place, taking the time, lighting breakdowns, gear, understanding your gear, but even the creative aspect. Like, there's still a lot of room for the authenticity of learning and education. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun to do that. We have about 7 young guys that we're avidly working with on a regular basis, and it's fun to see where they've grown in 1 year's time and going, that's part of this whole plan.
And in different areas. It's interesting. We're teaching them all, but they all have different strengths, all of them. And so I think it's really interesting being able to see how each person kind of, flourishes in their own little lane. It's interesting. I've always kind of had the opinion. I've always been of the mind that if you come to me and I teach you lighting, that's going to be your strength, and that's not been the case. It's really been interesting.
It's awesome understanding those things, but I think it is okay to not be great at everything. Maybe you have a basic understanding of something, but you flourish in an area. You're probably a greater asset than just somebody who's
the same thing,
is decent or mediocre at all of them.
Right.
So
100%. All right. Well, so this has probably been a shorter one than usual, and I think that's what we're going to try to keep it to a little bit shorter. Unless we're doing a in-depth breakdown or something. But really, we just wanted to get on here and say, new name, this is the why, this is where it came from. We have been pretty absent the past 2 years, and we finally have a team around us that we're going to try to have more consistency. We say that every podcast, but we've always, also it's just been you and I. But we are excited about the growth that we've had, the team that we have around us, the new opportunities that we're getting. It's been pretty awesome. So I don't have anything else for this podcast. What do you got?
That's it.
All right. Peace out.